And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So as a recap of where we were last time, we had just ran our file. We had just found out that the word little appeared in Mary Had a Little Lamb's first phrase 4 whopping times. Congratulations. So now, what we are going to do is we are going to try to create a new string that actually removes the word little entirely. Now to do this, I understood earlier that we probably accidentally overwrote the variable phrase that we have here. So what I'm going to do is show you how we could have adjusted part 3 so that this actually would have worked slightly different for us. And the easiest way of doing that would actually just be to make a copy of this string. So I'm going to call this maybe the OG phrase. And what we can do is we can actually set it equal to whatever the phrase variable is. This will work beautifully for what we're trying to do. And then in this case, we can keep using the OG phrase, which is hopefully going to have Mary Had a Little Lamb. Reason for that is because as we use this substring, we are actually overwriting the phrase that we have. So we would actually end up with no words. I think the last thing we'd have is something along this inside the string. So we would have completely destroyed the original string. So with this kind of makes a copy of that string going forwards, and we should be good to go from there. So with that, I'm going to come back down here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the phrase variable. This is the one that actually we chopped up into a billion different pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset that to be the OG phrase. This is, again, just resetting my whole entire string to say Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, Mary had a little lamb, please white as snow. Awesome. From now, what we're going to utilize is we're going to try to come through and remove every single time that we find the word little. And again, just to recap, the word little is my target that I have up here. And so we're going to use something extremely similar to where we're going to try to find the word little. We're going to then utilize a while loop again and kind of run through, and this time you make sure that we eliminate some of the phrases that we have inside there called little. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a brand new variable called index. Actually, we already have one called index. So I'm probably just going to override that variable. Similar process. Let's go ahead and take my phrase. Let's find the index of this thing that we have called the target. And again, I'm just going to try and find the word little somewhere inside of there. We're going to use a while loop because every time that word little shows up, I want to eliminate that word little. And from this, we're going to have to, again, utilize this and say, well, as long as that index does not equal -1, that means that this thing is somewhere inside of my string itself. With that, I can now go ahead and start chopping this up. If I make it inside this while loop, I have officially found the word somewhere in that string. Well, now, from above, you can see that we came through, we added some stuff, and then we adjusted the phrase by just chopping off the L in the word little. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to take this and actually chop it up in 2 pieces. We're going to have to take the original phrase and chop off all the words that go all the way up to the word little, and then we'll have to eliminate the word little, and then we'll have to chop off the rest from the end of little to the end of the phrase. And so basically what we're doing, if you look at the sentence that we have here, I'm going to have to make a substring that starts right here. That's going to be the first section of my substring. And then the second section of my substring is going to be everything else included without the word little inside of it. And so with that, we're going to have to kind of, again, utilize 2 different strings. To break this down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and write one phrase that's called the beginning. So the beginning of this is going to be what we had up here, the Mary had a space. And to do that, we're going to have to utilize, once again, a substring of our phrase that we have here. So I'm going to take the phrase variable. I'm going to use a substring of this. We are going to want to start and stop this one. And so the starting position is going to be 0. I'd like to start at the beginning of my sentence. And I would actually like to stop at the index in which I found Mary had a little lamb. Now, the reason for that is technically if this is the index that I found it in, remember that second parameter is non-inclusive. So that would actually give me all the words to Mary had a space going forwards, would not include the L that's actually inside of there. We would then come back and make something called the end, most likely, in a very similar fashion. We'd take our phrase, we would take some sort of a substring from this phrase, and because we have to eliminate the word little, I know I have to start at that index. But that index is technically where the L starts. So I need to move that index a little bit further away from it. In fact, I need to add the length of the word little. Because if I want to eliminate all those characters, I kind of have to adjust this accordingly. And so if we come back up here, again, the idea is that this is where I'm starting my substring, but I realistically want my substring to start here. Well, how many characters does the word little have in it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. So if I was originally starting here, if I moved to the right 6 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, this would be where I actually start the sentence from there. So from here, we can come down and say, well, why don't we add the length of my target? And so I'd go through, I'd say I got the word little. I just want to find out how long that is. That's where I'd actually like to start that sentence. We're only going to provide this one single parameter because that one parameter would then take the rest of the remaining string going forwards. Don't forget though, you do have to update your index. If we do not do this, we have to make sure that, or it would come into an infinite loop over and over and over. Just to show you what that might look like, I can run this for you. I actually have not. Oh my gosh, did they? No, they do not. Yeah, I was going to say. It's going to sit here and it's never going to give you that end code. You can notice that your stop button is always available for you guys. Usually if this does stop, it will give you that exited with code 0 or 1 or something like that. But this thing is literally just spinning and spinning and spinning. So I'm going to stop that so that it does stop. Oh, that was kind of cool. Look at that, process finished now. Otherwise that thing would have just been sitting there forever. What we're going to do then after this is once again update that index variable. So I'd say, hey, the index of this is once again going to be the index of this target that I'm looking for. Once I find that target, we can then jump back into this while loop and repeat this process over and over and over and over again until I finally end up with the string that I want without the words little in it. After that while loop is finished, I can go ahead and print out the the phrase that I have, and hopefully this will actually not include all the word little, which, oh, I done messed this up somewhere. It looked like that was another infinite loop going forwards. Index of. Pause that really quickly just to show you guys what kind of this infinite loop looked like. Basically, what I forgot to do, I made this. I kept printing out this word phrase here because I wanted to see what this thing was actually running for. And so if you look at it, it would just keep printing out the same phrase over and over. I would never actually eliminate the word little inside of it. And the reason for that is because I made this awesome beginning sentence, I made this awesome end sentence, but I never added them together. So if I would take the phrase variable, I have to just set it to what the beginning is plus what the end is. And so this would be the word beginning, again, all the way from here to here. And then the end of this phrase would be everything except for that first word little. So that way we would eliminate the first term that is actually inside of there. So that thing should hopefully start working now. I like this. Let's go ahead and print this out, and I believe we will find the issue has stopped. And it did. Mary had a lamb. Mary had a lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Perfect. So, worked out beautifully. Had to kind of fix it up a little bit though. The last piece that we have here says create a new string that's based on the phrase again, where it says take every single word that we have called little and replace it with the word big this time. We're actually going to do something extremely similar to this, whereas we utilize this while loop. We're going to have a beginning section and an end section, but in between the beginning and the end, we're just going to add the word big instead inside of there. So I'm going to set everything kind of back to where it was one more time. I'm going to take the phrase that I have, I'm going to reset it to the OG phrase. So now it is Mary had a little lamb over and over and over again for you guys. And then once again, we're going to find the index of our original word here. So I'm going to take the phrase, find the index of this target that we are looking for. Setting up another while loop. Congratulations, while this index is not equal to the number -1, that means that I have found some sort of an instance of the word little. We are again going to kind of create a beginning and an end. Can't spell today, beginning, there we are. And I'm going to take my original phrase. I'm going to utilize the substring again. We'd like to start at the index of 0. I'd like to go, starting at 0. Go to the variable or the number in which I found the word little. Again, not including the L that's there. I would create something called the end again. And inside here, I would take my phrase. We would do one more substring. Once again, I need to start at this index, but I need to make sure that I add the length of my word in there. So I'm going to take the target word little. I'm going to find out how long it is, and that's going to be the sentence that I'm adding. And then I'm going to take the phrase that I have, and I'm going to reassign it to be something new. I'm going to take the beginning that I have. I'm going to add in the word big, most likely. And then I'm going to add in the end sentence that we have here. This is essentially I've cut out the word little using these two substrings. And so I'm taking the beginning, adding the word big in place of the little, and then having the word end adding the end to the end. After that works, I should be able to print out my phrase one more time, and we will notice that Mary has a big lamb now. Just kidding. I done broke something because I can't spell again. Having struggles today. And I want this in the right top of my screen. What is happening? Can I just run my file? There it is. I'm not sure what was going on there. Oh, looks like I got some bounds errors. Perfect. Let me find this and fix it. Guys, once again, I done messed this up. So what I did just to double check, and this is a great way of debugging, I just decided to print my phrase every single time that I saw this. And as you noticed, the very first time I did take the word little, replace it with the word big. But then I unfortunately just kept kind of adding things. I realized at the end of the day, I didn't actually update the index one more time. So this was, again, a loop that just kept going and going. And instead of an infinite loop, actually what happened is I had an index out of bounds error that actually broke the program before the infinite loop could keep on going. So again, my fault. I will just need to update the index that I have. So after I've added the word big instead of the word little, I'm just going to find the index of this target one last time going forwards. And this should have solved all the problems that we have here. Officially, Mary now has big lambs. That's awesome. Cool, guys. I know it's kind of long, but these are some great questions that I think are viable things to throw on a test or something like that. Maybe one of these on a test. But this is how you can utilize some while loops and some index ofs and some just good old-fashioned for loops to have some fun with some strings. Take care.